Nikola Tesla had died alone in a modest New York hotel room, January 7, 1943, with little more than a few coins in his pocket and the hushed condolences of a single newspaper column. At the time, his name meant almost nothing to the public. He left behind no grand monument, no fortune, and few people who understood the depth of his work. Yet today, virtually every electric light you switch on, every radio signal you stream, and every electric car you drive depends on technologies he invented more than a century ago. Consider your morning routine. You wake in a room lit by alternating current flowing silently through the walls, a system Tesla championed when direct current was king. You check your phone's wireless connection, tapping into radio waves, whose principles he explored in his Manhattan lab. Later, you step into an elevator powered by an induction motor, the very design Tesla patented to lift heavy loads efficiently. Even the futuristic concept of sending power through the air, wireless charging for your devices, traces its roots to his grand dreams of transmitting energy without wires. This striking contrast, dying in obscurity, living on in every modern device, reveals the paradox of Tesla's life. As Edison's rival, he lost in the war of the currents battle for public acclaim, only to see his alternating current system triumph worldwide. As a visionary, he predicted smartphones and global wireless networks, but his own Wardenclyffe Tower project fell into ruin for lack of funding. As an inventor, he held hundreds of patents, yet he died nearly penniless, because many of his ideas were too far ahead of their time for investors to grasp. Imagine the scene in that small hotel room, scattered notebooks filled with coil designs and waveform equations, a single pigeon perching at his window, and a man whose mind still raced with unbuilt machines and untested theories. Just a few blocks away, the city hummed with electric trolleys, glowing street lamps, and radio broadcasts, all powered by the systems Tesla had designed. Wall Street buzzed with the fortunes of companies using his patents, while his own account ledger showed only debts. Tesla's story teaches us that true innovation often matters less in the moment than its ripple effects over generations. It reminds us that a genius need not be celebrated to change the world. His forgotten hotel room has become a powerful symbol, the idea that one person's relentless imagination can illuminate the lives of billions, even if that person never finds fame or fortune. In the following section, we will travel back to the rugged landscapes of 19th century Croatia, where Tesla's extraordinary mind first took shape, and trace the path that led him from childhood experiments to the skyscrapers and power grids of modern America. Nikola Tesla was born in the village of Smiljan in 1856, in what is now Croatia, but was then part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. His father was an Orthodox priest, and his mother, though never formally educated, had a gift for inventing household tools and appliances. From the start, Tesla showed signs of a remarkable mind. He learned to read by age 3, and by 7 could recite entire passages from books he had only heard once. He spoke multiple languages and possessed an eidetic memory that allowed him to visualize complex machines in every detail. As a boy, Tesla's life was marked by episodes of illness, high fevers that sometimes brought vivid visions of flashing lights and intricate structures in the darkness. Rather than frightening him, these visions fueled his curiosity. He taught himself geometry in nothing but his photographic recall of diagrams in his textbooks, and he constructed small models of water wheels and mechanisms from scraps of wood and metal in his family's barn. When a neighbor's broken water pump lay idle, Tesla quietly disassembled it, studied its parts, and rebuilt it overnight so it worked better than before. In 1875, Tesla enrolled at the Austrian Polytechnic in Graz to study electrical engineering. There, he encountered direct current generators and began to wonder if a system that sent electricity in only one direction could ever power a modern city. He imagined instead a current that reversed direction many times per second, alternating current that could travel farther on thinner wires with far less energy loss. He spent nights poring over Maxwell's equations by lantern light, mentally testing winding configurations and magnetic fields, almost never writing a single line of code or sketching a single blueprint on paper. His classmates thought him eccentric. He rarely slept and refused to attend classes if they clashed with his own experiments. After 2 years, financial struggles, and a conflict with a strict professor over grading policies forced Tesla to leave Graz without a degree. He found work in Budapest in 1882 at the Central Telegraph Office, where he mastered the practical aspects of AC dynamos and motors. One evening, while walking through a city park, he had a sudden flash of inspiration. He envisioned the rotating magnetic field that would form the heart of his revolutionary motor. He rushed home to sketch the design, though he later described it as having appeared fully formed in his mind. In 1884, carrying little more than a letter of introduction to Thomas Edison and 4 cents in his pocket, Tesla arrived at New York City's Castle Garden. He met Edison and was quickly hired to improve the performance of Edison's direct current generators. In Edison's workshop on Cox Street, Tesla rewound the armatures of Edison's broken machines, boosting their efficiency by upwards of 25%. When Tesla asked for the $5,000 prize Edison had promised for these improvements, Edison reportedly replied, "Tesla, you don't understand our American humor," and offered a modest raise in salary instead. Disillusioned, Tesla left Edison's company within months, choosing to pursue his own vision of alternating current. Free from direct current constraints, Tesla set up a laboratory in Lower Manhattan and began patenting his AC inventions. In 1886, he met George Westinghouse, a bold industrialist who saw promise in Tesla's patents. Westinghouse licensed Tesla's AC motor and transformer designs, paying an initial fee and agreeing to a royalty of $2.50 per horsepower of equipment sold. Together, they battled Edison's crusade against AC, the so-called War of the Currents, in which Edison held public demonstrations, electrocution animals, with AC to frighten investors. Despite Edison's campaign, Tesla and Westinghouse pressed on. They demonstrated that AC could power lighting and motors more efficiently than DC, especially over long distances. Their breakthrough came at Niagara Falls, where Westinghouse installed Tesla's generators in 1895. For the first time, electricity produced by water-driven turbines traveled 22 miles to Buffalo, New York, lighting factories and homes. The success of Niagara Falls ended the War of the Currents. City after city adopted AC power systems, and Tesla's inventions became the backbone of modern electrical grids around the world. By the late 1890s, Tesla's lab on Houston Street in Manhattan was a marvel of innovation. He experimented with high-frequency currents, inventing the Tesla coil transformer circuit that generated the first demonstrated wireless currents. In 1893, at the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, Tesla lit 200 arc lamps wirelessly using 2 coils, stunning visitors and foreshadowing radio and wireless power transmission. Yet, for all his successes, Tesla's restless imagination outpaced his investors' patience. Financier J.P. Morgan funded his Wardenclyffe Tower project on Long Island to demonstrate transatlantic wireless communication and free power transmission. When Morgan realized Tesla also planned to broadcast free energy undermining traditional utilities, he withdrew his support. By 1906, Wardenclyffe was abandoned and later demolished for scrap. Tesla, now free of debt, persisted, continuing to file patents in total. Over 300, including innovations in rotating magnetic fields, early radio control, and even devices to capture cosmic rays. In the years that followed, Tesla drifted between New York hotels, keeping company with a few trusted pigeons and scribbling designs on hotel stationery. Though he received occasional grants from admirers, he died in 1943 with little money and just a handful of news obituaries. His burial at Ferncliff Cemetery passed quietly. Only decades later did scientists and historians rediscover the depth of his contributions and formally honor his genius with the naming of the unit Tesla for magnetic flux density, the establishment of museums, and a resurgence of popular fascination. Nikola Tesla's journey from a visionary child in rural Croatia to a pioneering inventor in the heart of New York City shows us that true innovation often requires seeing beyond the limits of the present, persisting when funding runs dry, and believing in ideas before the world is ready for them. His legacy powers our lives every day, a testament to the enduring power of dreams brought to life by relentless determination. In the mid-1890s, Tesla's work reached its zenith. In his cramped Houston Street laboratory, he perfected the Tesla coil, a resonant transformer circuit capable of producing spectacular high-frequency currents. One night, he sent 200 arc lamps, glowing without wires, at the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. Visitors gasped as the lights above the fairgrounds flickered to life. Powered by invisible currents, he beamed through the air. Newspapers hailed it as miracle lighting, yet few understood the science behind it. Flush with acclaim, Tesla turned his attention to a grander vision: worldwide wireless communication and power transmission. He persuaded financier J.P. Morgan to fund a project at Shoreham, Long Island. There, Tesla began constructing the Wardenclyffe Tower, a 20-story structure bristling with copper coils and topped by a 90-foot diameter dome. His plan was breathtaking in its ambition, using Earth's conductivity to transmit both messages and electricity across oceans for free. At a time when transatlantic telegraph companies charged 6 cents a word, Tesla promised global, instantaneous communication at no cost to the user. Construction moved swiftly. Lumber from the site transformed into scaffolding wrapped in copper mesh. Beneath the tower, Tesla dug a vast network of tunnels and buried metal plates to couple the tower's currents with the Earth itself. He claimed that by pumping alternating currents into the ground and regulating them at specific frequencies, he could create standing waves that any properly tuned receiver anywhere on the planet could pick up. Model experiments seemed to validate his theory. He lit small bulbs dozens of feet from his transmitter, and even produced sparks that danced in the palm of his hand. But as Wardenclyffe rose, his funding began to waver. Morgan, who had initially invested $600,000, grew uneasy when Tesla revealed plans to distribute power for free, undercutting the very utility companies that financed him. When he refused to promise exclusivity or patent licensing, Morgan's support dried up. Tesla tried to attract new backers, even proposing to use the tower for ship-to-shore telephony and weather forecasting. But few saw the immediate return on such colossal investments. By 1906, the tower stood silent, a looming monument to unfulfilled promise. Undeterred, Tesla pressed on with smaller but still visionary inventions. In 1898, He amazed a packed audience at Madison Square Garden by controlling a small, radio-equipped boat from the gallery floor. With a turn of a dial, the boat's rudder shifted. Another dial made its lights blink. Reporters called it teletomaton, the birth of remote control. Governments and militaries took note, but applications were slow to follow. Tesla's lab became a magnet for the curious and the eccentric. He experimented with lightning light discharges, creating bolts of electricity 20 feet long that crackled with deafening roar. He built magnifying transmitters intended to tap into the Earth's resonant frequency, forecasting that someday cities might be powered by a central Tesla plant. Yet each new experiment seemed to drain his dwindling resources. Financial pressures mounted. Patent royalties from his AC motors and transformers had once provided a steady income, but Westinghouse renegotiated their agreement during a period of economic downturn, effectively eliminating Tesla's royalty payments. He sold the patents for radio transmissioner technology he had demonstrated years before to Guglielmo Marconi, believing that sharing his work would advance humanity. When Marconi won the Nobel Prize for Radio in 1909, Tesla's role was largely forgotten. By the 1910s, Tesla was living hand-to-mouth. He moved into the Hotel New Yorker, paying his bill by selling stories to newspapers and offering occasional lectures to engineering societies. In the evenings, he fed crushed grain and seeds to a favorite white pigeon that would coo on his windowsill. He spent hours writing plans for inventions he never had the funds to build: a death ray to end all wars, turbines that floated on negative pressure, and devices to harness cosmic rays as a limitless energy source. Yet even amid personal hardship, Tesla's mind never ceased to blaze with ideas. He filed patents for a turbine with no blades, a mechanical oscillator that could generate resonances strong enough to shake buildings, and methods for tapping into the natural energy of the environment. Some of these inventions, dismissed by contemporaries as fanciful, later found practical applications or inspired modern research in fields from renewable energy to medical imaging. In 1917, the abandoned Wardenclyffe Tower was demolished for scrap. The copper and steel, once symbols of Tesla's dreams of a connected world, were sold to settle debts. Observers noted the irony. The site that might have broadcast free electricity around the globe ended its days as raw material for other industries, the same industries Tesla had hoped to revolutionize. As news of World War I's devastation spread, Tesla's message that science could uplift humanity seemed tragically misplaced. He declared that his death ray, if built, could deter war by making any attack instantly suicidal. Governments listened politely, but offered no support. He retreated further into private experiments and public eccentricities, favoring pigeons over people and sketchbooks over laboratories. When he finally passed away in that lonely hotel room, the world moved on without much notice. Newspapers buried his obituary in small type. His closest friends collected scattered notebooks and packed them away, uncertain whether their contents were genius or madness. Yet, in spite of that dashed ambition and financial ruin, Tesla's inventions continued to ripple through the decades. Alternating current systems lit cities, transmitted factories ran power-hungry machines, and radio waves carried voices around the planet. His early work on remote-control presaged drones and robotics. Wireless charging technologies now sit atop restaurant tables and in electric vehicles, realizing a vision first imagined at Wardenclyffe. Tesla's life reached its climax not in fame or riches, but in the enduring power of his ideas. The very systems that once left him impoverished became the engines of modern civilization. His inventions proved that bold vision, combined with unrelenting experimentation, can transcend the limits of money, time, and public acclaim, leaving a legacy that illuminates our world long after the inventor himself has faded from memory. Nikola Tesla's life reminds us that true genius does not always come wrapped in fame or fortune. He dreamed of a world lit and connected by invisible forces, and despite dying alone and in debt, his inventions became the invisible scaffolding of modern society. Today, every time we flip a light switch, we rely on the alternating current power grids he championed. Every wireless signal, whether a radio broadcast, a Wi-Fi connection, or a smartphone call, travels on principles he first demonstrated in Manhattan Labs. Electric vehicles glide silently on roads thanks to motors built on Tesla's rotating magnetic field. And the burgeoning field of wireless charging, as well as experimental efforts to beam power without wires, he glimpsed more than a century ago at Wardenclyffe. In his final years, Tesla himself could only watch his financial backers vanished and his grandest projects, like the Wardenclyffe Tower, were torn down. He spent his last days in a New York hotel, befriending pigeons and scribbling notes for inventions the world would not yet fund. Yet the collapse of his personal fortunes did not halt the progress he set in motion. His patents, once sold for a pittance, powered the Westinghouse AC system that lit Niagara Falls and then illuminated cities around the globe. His early experiments with high-frequency currents paved the way for radio, radar, and the wireless networks that now span continents. Tesla's story shows us that the impact of a visionary mind often unfolds long after immediate applause has faded. He faced financial ruin, public misunderstanding, and fierce competition from powerful rivals. Still, he never ceased pursuing bold ideas, envisioning refrigerators that needed no moving parts, systems to harvest cosmic energy, and global networks of wireless communication and power. His willingness to dream beyond contemporary limits, coupled with his relentless experimentation, laid the groundwork for countless technologies we now take for granted. In honoring Tesla's legacy, we recognize that true innovation has more than technical skill. It demands imagination undimmed by doubt, perseverance in the face of failure, and a willingness to defy conventions. He showed that a single person's vision can electrify the world, long after their name is nearly forgotten. As we benefit from Tesla's inventions, whether we know his name or not, we carry forward his spirit whenever we harness unseen forces to make life brighter, faster, and more connected. I have 3 special questions for you. 1. Which of Tesla's inventions, alternating current power, wireless transmission, or remote control, do you find most transformative, and why? 2. How can today's innovators balance bold, long-term visions with the practical need for funding and support? 3. In what ways might you apply Tesla's example of perseverance and imaginative thinking to solve a challenge in your own life or community?
If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me make more stories for you.